Oh, nice. And the zoom stuff almost showed up in the right spot.
Oh.
How's it going?
What's going on?
Hey.
Not too much. Oh, actually, Ryan's a little bit off there.
I'm a little off. Is it my camera or is it your settings, sir?
Sure, it's my settings. All right, let's see.
We'll blame your settings. Even though it's my fault, I'll gladly default the blame. For once, I'm responsible for the problem. So,
I had to make the windows a little bigger. All right. I think we're good.
I have the largest window again. Fantastic.
I know, because you're our guest of honor again. But we know who should have the largest window. The Herman Miller Logitech Embody chair.
That's who deserves the largest menu.
We've been talking chairs. It's been really good. That's all I can say. We, right before we get on the stream, we talk about stuff, what we're going to talk about. Today it's this chair, it looks really nice. It's got lumbar support. It's got, it's the whole, but not just the lumbar, but the whole spine. That whole S. It's
the reviews for the Embody chair in general are it is rated the top chair to sit in. I
just want to point out that I got a private message. I got a private message that says that I became very attractive. Oh. I don't know what they meant, but I looked on the screen and realized that you have 2 Ryan Wallers on stream tonight.
Oh, I do.
I was like, I got the message and I was like,
we're both in this white void.
What are you talking about? And I'm like, oh god.
Oh, that's interesting.
Because he was like,
that's pretty good.
You shaved your beard, and I was like, what? I still didn't get it.
Yeah, still not.
I didn't have the stream up. I'm not looking at the stream. I was like, what?
It was correct on the other page. I was like, oh, I'm good.
There we go.
Hey, it's fixed. All right, here we go.
I had to look up you have a very difficult last
name. I have a difficult last name.
How do you spell that?
Oh, 7 letters, 1 vowel, it's tough. Yeah, it's tough.
It's very German.
Yeah. It is.
That's your like it's actually French.
We thought Ryan was getting trolled by someone.
Technically it's Austrian, but in Austria they speak German. So it's like, you were
correct.
Right. Yeah.
No.
Mine's technically British.
This person that is very sarcastic, and so I'm like, what are you talking about? I was so confused.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Are they in here? I don't see, if you're messaging me, I don't see you in the list of users, which is even more interesting. Individual.
It's creeping on you.
Creeping.
I know. Yeah, Maxine is back. Ryan is back.
I'm back.
In his new place.
Yeah. It still needs to be.
Where's all the
beautified.
sweet decorations you promised us?
They're coming. Okay, wait. Okay, fine. Hang on. All right, hang on.
I mean,
maybe do it.
I need like the neon signs and
family photos.
All right, it's coming.
Oh no, it's
I can't see that all the way back there. What is that about?
I don't know. Well, it's got to get hung up still. It's like the U.S. patent information for an actual TIE fighter.
Do you have
TIE bomber? This
is a larger version of it?
Because they've like created them in real life.
I mean, who knows? Maybe in 1983, the United States
you need a patent for that.
Yeah, they're like, I'm going to patent me a TIE bomber.
Yeah.
Look out, Soviet Union! Here we come.
Yeah.
So
talking about an arms race. Yeah.
I've ordered stuff. It's supposed to be coming. Now my camera's out of whack because I threw it out of
I
focus.
know. You got to move that mic up a little bit too. We're getting.
You look great, honey. Keep going. You look great.
It sounds like you're in a TIE fighter as well.
That was the whole point. It makes you feel that moment. Which now, Maxine, you missed this, but I had this whole entire episode about me being super excited about Star Wars Squadrons, which, by the way, is next month.
I'm excited too. So go on.
Don't get me going.
We're gonna. Can we be in the same squad?
Yes.
Oh my goodness. Is this PC only?
No, it's not.
Because I will be getting a PlayStation 5 on which to play Stray, so I may get.
They actually just today released Star Wars Squadron CG short Hunted just came out.
Ooh, we're gonna watch it.
just why not? Because it
Why
looks
not?
amazing here. And I've already obsessed over it on stream 1,000 times. So I grew up playing the TIE Fighter and X-Wing series, X-Wing versus TIE Fighter, X-Wing Alliance. So big fans of these series. And when I saw this, my little 14-year-old self was like, yay! Puberty hasn't hit yet, but I'm excited. That's what in my mind I heard myself.
So we're watching the CG short?
Yes, which is significant for us. This is actually, so for those who are looking at CG Spectrum, these are the kind of things that you could actually be employed to do.
All right.
That was good.
Like that segue?
That was good. Yeah.
Justification for
Let's go
mine and
to
Maxine's obsession.
YouTube. Can make it a little bigger.
We
There
get
we go.
excited here, about our work and about stuff that we watch, but then also work, the school.
Fix the resolution, Jeremy. Fix the resolution.
Oh my goodness. Fine.
I'm squinting on my.
It ODs. My OCD just kicks in every time. I'm like,
We're
oh,
gonna do
720p.
1080p.
There we go.
Okay.
Oh my goodness. Hey, look at this.
And you can play the whole game in VR. I mean, not that I have that, but like that's.
It's not over yet.
Which means Subnautica doesn't everything else is,
Captain,
just
The
icy.
station is lost.
I mean, you'll never find me here again. That's for sure. I'll be playing this.
I told Jeremy, I was like, so for the next 6 weeks, I'll be out playing
Cancel
Squadrons.
the stream because we're playing Squadrons. Or we could just do the stream of us playing Squadrons.
Yeah.
That would be amazing. We should do that, actually.
Like actually use Twitch for what it's for.
That's crazy talk.
Sure.
All fighters, return to the overseer for extraction. Captain, come in.
Looks awesome.
This is Titan 3. I'm in down.
Come on, we still have ties out.
Look at the UI.
We're not
I
handling
mean, like,
the enemy
oh.
one destroyer, Captain. The
I wonder how many
overseer
people have made those destroyer ships. Or if they just buy the models at this point.
What do you mean destroyer ships? You mean a Star Destroyer?
Yeah, like how many people have made that?
Thanks, Greg.
I bet they make them every time from scratch.
No, they just like
because-
buy it off Turbo Squid.
No, Turbo Squid.
Yeah.
No, they get the CG Trader one. And forget
No,
Turbo Squid. That's too high quality. Get the
They're like,
CG
oh,
Trader.
it's gonna take too long to like
All stations.
unarchive it.
I
It's
know.
gonna take about 2 weeks. Yeah, let's just buy it off Turbo Squid.
They just use it like full triangulated and everything.
We'll add some effects to the engine lights. We'll mask the rest of it.
I mean, it's all one color anyway.
I
But
mean,
honestly,
honestly,
that's
that
the kind
resolution-
of like, thinking in your feet kind of stuff that happens in the
Oh,
industry.
I'm
where you're
sad
like,
for-
oh, it's
I'm
going to take
sad.
too long to
I know, what is
unarchive
that? This
something.
guy got abandoned.
This got left behind. I'm sad. Dude, TIE interceptors do not have hyperspace. Everyone knows that. Oh, he's gonna sneak in with the rebels. Gonna hitch a ride, little hitchhiker. I'm so
Some
excited.
stealth.
Oh, they're searching for him. Oh, those pesky X-Wings.
I wish I could hear the breathing, like, that there's the breathing.
This is like sharks hunting you in the kelp, man. What's going on here?
Wow.
I love it though. This is great. This looks, honestly, this looks beautiful. The CG on this is beautiful.
Do you know who did it?
I mean, I think it's actually EA in-house, but maybe I'm wrong on that. Oh, that's gutsy. There we go. That's the right word.
Yeah.
This guy has a death wish. Look at this. This is epic.
That does look good. Can they go through the atmosphere? I'm not.
Evidently, the answer is
Yeah,
yes. Yeah,
right?
actually, I mean, yeah, I think they can. I mean,
Because they start sometimes on a planet. and
on
then-
planets, that's
Yeah,
right.
that's true.
Yeah, they deploy.
Oh boy.
Oh, push X button, bro.
Would they go to these lengths to chase down one damaged fighter? I guess that's the other question.
Well, I mean, the rebel scum would, because they're awful. Trying to hunt a poor innocent drafted military soldier to his death.
Oh, because got destroyed.
Look, this guy looks. He looks great. Wow, that's beautiful.
Yeah, that looks so cool.
This is one of the prettiest CG things I've seen in a long time. I may be fanboying too hard here as well. Full disclosure. This looks great.
Let's see if I can figure out who did it.
Oh, so cool.
Nice inclusion element there too, right? Like,
War's over.
What?
Damn.
His mask's off.
it's not a clone, by the way. The
Oh.
water.
Oh, that looked great.
That is awesome. The wall. Yes.
Oh, got him.
Oh, he killed him. He killed the. They actually let the rebel get killed.
Oh.
Well,
Well, because you could play for both sides, right?
I think he's dead too. Though. I think he got.
Oh. Ooh.
this was
that
done
looked
by
great, though.
Axis Studios.
Axis Studios.
Oh no, wait, this is the wrong one. This is. Never mind. I apologize. Apparently, there's a lot of Star Wars.
Man, this has me so pumped. I know this will have nothing to do with the game whatsoever. but I'm
Wow,
still
look at that.
pumped.
He survived.
Do they have airbag deployment inside the TIE fighters here?
Whoa.
Oh. Oh.
It's not over yet. Not for me.
Oh, that was cool.
Hey, where's his squad?
Oh, well, no
Right?
wonder.
Go back 10 seconds. Go back 10 seconds.
No wonder it
into
looks
it.
so good. Oh, my bad.
It's motive. Watching the reflection off the eye ports.
Not for me.
On pause.
Damn.
But did you see that?
I know.
Hey, thanks for the follow. Okay.
Oh,
let-
Inchai T. I was like, how do you pronounce that? Inchai T. There you go.
Let's just rate this. Let's just rate the trailer from a CG perspective. What is your all's take on the quality of that presentation just now?
What's up, Stu?
Hey, Stu.
Stu, what's going on, buddy?
He's having a great day. You know, me too. Me too.
I mean, it's top notch.
Like,
it's
some of
very
those
easy.
environments at the end are great.
Yeah, because guess who did it?
ILM?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, everyone's
Sean.
got to stay busy now, so
Yeah, so visual effects
Yeah.
company that did
How long-
Star Wars did this.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I bet. So where did they get those models? They probably rehashed some of
Yeah.
those.
They didn't go to Turbo Squid. They're like,
They
they
didn't
did
go to
just
Turbo Squid.
unarchive it.
yeah.
They're like, I think we have that. One moment.
Yeah. They just have it ready to go at all times.
I
Like
know.
10 different options.
Someone needs a Star Wars. All right, we got it.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly though, how long did it took to make that?
I don't know. A lot of these.
How
take
long
about-
is it? I
about
can't-
10
It's a long one, right?
7 minutes.
7
yeah.
minutes.
I don't know. You take 10 months maybe.
Yeah.
Because it's not a lot of
Could-
creature animation or anything like that.
No, it's a lot of hard surface and
a lot of hard
environment,
surface animation and then just environments. So
Could be less because again, like a lot of those
It depends on how many people that
vehicles
work
and
on
stuff.
it, right?
They've had them. Yeah, they've had them around for a while. Yeah,
That's
it
true.
could be.
Yeah,
How
because
long
even if
did it
you're-
Could be
take
half
the
that.
IO requests to go out for the archivist to be like, all right, there we go.
That took the longest out of
Probably-
the entire
probably.
pipeline. They're like, all right, we got to unarchive this. Has to be the high quality version, the one where you can see all the different parts. Because we're
Yep.
gonna zoom in. We're gonna zoom into that thing. You know, we're gonna do a flyby. Do I want to be famous? I
We
do.
got, we got
No, I don't.
trolls. No.
yeah, yeah, you wanna block that there.
Yep.
God, that's the last thing I want. To be famous, because then people are wondering where you are, what you're doing.
Oh no, yeah, that would be.
This
I
is
used to-
okay. The money side would be nice, sure, but some people are famous without the money.
I
you
was gonna
know?
say some people are
They're
famous without money. Exactly.
They're just
right.
asking, want to be famous. They're not asking, hey, do you want $1 million and be famous? They're just asking for fame. That's you don't want that. Yeah, you want to be someone behind the scenes working on something awesome. Like this trailer.
Exactly. I mean, like, that is definitely. I mean, just to say, to show your work, right? Like, have this in your highlight reel, Be like,
Yeah.
hey, look, check it out.
Yeah, that would be pretty cool. You want to be
Yeah,
best friends with someone
you could be in the
famous.
entourage, I guess.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that's the whole premise of the show, The Entourage or Entourage.
I know. It feels
That
good
was
though. I
great.
guess we're getting big enough that we have troll bots
Exactly.
coming in. So we've hit a status.
Troll bot
That's
status.
true.
Troll
I'm not
bot
sure it's the
status.
status you want, but
Hit that like and subscribe right here.
Yeah.
they're gonna be like,
Wherever it
no,
is
you have to buy your followers
On
from
this
us. Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I agree. You do want to be best friends with someone famous. Although I gotta say, I'm really good friends with someone who's kind of famous, and
You get nothing out of it?
Yeah.
No, that wasn't. I mean, you're not wrong. I mean, I have his friendship, which is worth a ton. But like, it actually is kind of hard because like when you're introducing them to somebody, like you don't want to be like, this is my friend so and so from so and so. It's like, do I downplay that? And he's like, it depends on the situation. I'm like, that does not help me at all. I don't. What is the
Do you
definition of
just
the
say
situation?
like, hey, this is my buddy Tom?
This is my friend Jeremy. He's Jeremy Chin from the famous Twitch streamer.
Right, like you wouldn't have to walk through the resume when you introduce, because if you introduce a normal friend, you don't say,
This
say
is
to
Gary. He works for Chick-fil-A at first, but then he got upgraded to pilot gas stations before he went to college. He got a degree, and now he's an accountant. Exactly.
Exactly.
What celebrity would you want to be besties? See, these are the real questions here tonight.
I know.
That's a good question.
That's hard hitting.
Maxine, I'm gonna make you go first.
Chatty.
I have to think
I know.
about it.
Oh, damn it.
What?
I'm trying to think of what perks you could get by knowing someone.
Well, so clearly,
But then you're not you're not besties with this person if you're friends with them for the perks, though.
Yeah, they just
Tell that to Entourage.
Yeah. Then you're just part of the
Seasons 1
entourage.
through 7. Why did I have to go first?
I don't want to go first. I made you.
Oh,
go first.
someone
Try not
someone
to.
like, someone who's like doing good things, for the world, like Greta Thunberg maybe, or someone famous that's like,
Well, you
doing good things.
Definitely no financial perks out of Greta Thunberg for the record.
I know. I'm like rethinking that.
It depends what you want to get out of it. I mean,
Yeah.
like, if it's like I want perks, I'm using this person. That's not really friendship at that point. But I'm gonna say, who do I want to hang out with? Who looks cool enough to hang out with? That's they're my best friend, a person I spend time with. So, I would probably be best friends with someone like. Oh man, that's tough. That's a tough one.
Well, how much do you?
I'm gonna say
Because
Paris
I don't
Hilton.
really dig too much into celebrities like personal lives at all. So I don't
I
know.
know,
It's
I know.
hard
I
to
don't- I
because
don't know a
wouldn't
lot of
know who do I know enough to know if I would
Well-
want to be friends with. I don't know.
So, I mean, I guess I follow some of that stuff just because some of my circle, probably Zachary Levi. I just think he's a cool guy.
Yeah, he does seem like he would be nice.
So that would probably be my guy. Would be Zachary Levi.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Okay, yeah, he seems cool.
Down with that.
He's cool. He's down to earth. He talks about mental health, and he talks about like how he worked through stuff and forgave his parents, and like,
Yeah,
I mean, he does a lot of cool stuff. So,
that's true.
and he's a
checking off all
nerd.
the boxes.
He plays D&D and video games. You know,
Yep.
he was in a Disney movie. He was in Marvel movies. I mean, you know, it's like
Say no more. We all want him to be our best friend, I guess. That's what we're getting
Zach, I'm picking Zachary Levi.
at. Okay. I'm gonna pick Zachary Quinto just to stay within the Zach.
Also a really
world.
interesting guy. Yeah.
I can't give a real answer to this question.
I know that one's tough.
Why is he your best friend? Because Ryan was best friends with Zachary Levi, and I went with another Zachary.
I had to figure out Zach. Don't tell Zach that.
Hey, but at least you're not using it for his fame. You're using it for
Well,
his
should I just go with Zach Galifianakis then? To round out?
Yeah.
There we go. Man, we
Quinto
are
has
so.
really nice eyes. You know what? It's the eyebrows. When you have good eyebrows, it makes your eyes look nice.
I mean, he is Spock, so
There's
know.
yeah. And that guy from Heroes.
and that guy. Actually, that's where he got to start. But I thought he crushed Spock. He did such a great job of Spock.
Yeah, he did. do
I
a really
actually
nice
don't know
job.
He did do a
him
good
as a
job of it.
person. Is he an awful person, a good person? I have no idea. I literally know nothing about him.
Yeah, I don't.
Oh,
I
you know
don't
what?
kinda-
Keanu Reeves. That's mine, guys. That's mine. That's
Going to
mine.
trend. That's a trendy pick.
Yeah,
He's a
yeah,
trendy
that
one, but
that
you
is the trendy
know,
pick.
he's like a good guy. You know,
Well,
he rides
I
the
got-
subway.
I have to tell you that I have adopted his how to hug people of the opposite sex. Have you seen this? He literally, no, I'm serious. So he does side hugs and he will not put his arm around them. He puts his arm out and you see his hand clearly in all the pictures.
Yeah,
And
there's
it's just-
a
it's-
couple
Oh, like where
different-
he doesn't touch them. He does one of these floating.
Yeah, but
Yeah, he
it's
he does the floating. A couple celebrities do that.
but his hands are actually out. It's just really, I think it's really respectful. Actually, it's
It's
just
more like a than a
hi.
hug. It's like
Yeah, the hand is not. Yeah,
So
I respect it.
I've adopted that one. I like that one. Like if it's someone I know, like a personal friend, obviously different. But like, you know, I just think it's a good way to show respect to people.
just taking selfies on the street with people. Well, and it protects himself as well. So.
Yeah.
Now more than ever with COVID, you know. We're gonna bring it up every week, COVID. Whether you like it or not.
Yeah.
It's part of our lives.
It
Yeah.
is part of our lives.
You want to do a floating hug.
Well, I don't know. If that, I
Nowadays-
mean, that's breaking social distancing at that point. So you've.
But if you do it really far, you still keep the 6 feet. I don't know.
Yeah, it depends how long. Or if you do like an optical illusion where you're standing like 6 feet behind them.
Put
and
mirrors
you're
up
this,
so you look like you're hugging
and
from
then they're
mirrors.
here.
But you would
Yeah.
have to be a giant.
Yeah, it
person
would
in
only
the
work
back
for
would have to
people
be
with
huge.
long arms.
So
Yeah,
only
yeah.
Jeremy
I
can do.
couldn't
So
it.
Jeremy can actually do
Yeah.
this. Okay, got it.
Yeah.
No, I think the new guideline actually is now you can't be next to someone for you can't get unless you're within them for 15 minutes within 6 feet. So you could do like a
Okay.
10-second hug.
How's it going, Eli?
That-
Yeah, we're just having a good time this evening.
Eli,
This is our less serious chat.
I don't know what the tone
Hi,
is for
Eli.
tonight, but I'm going to ask if indie design is moving into AAA. Well, I'm going to ask Eli, what can you elaborate on what you mean by that? Because I could point to yes and no depending on what you're wanting to go with that.
Well,
Brian is our
he-
game guy.
we were talking about Fall Guys in the CG Spectrum Slack channel. Is that what you're talking about, Eli? I saw him write a comment about that today, I think. About how like some bigger games might be like noticing that these different aesthetics that aren't all like action based, stylistically, that it's more of a mainstream thing, that there are so many people out there that want that who don't necessarily want
We talked
a big
about this a
action
few streams
game.
ago, I think, actually,
hmm
because I am that person.
Jeremy, I
Yeah.
was going to say Jeremy's that guy.
I am
Um,
that guy.
So
I'm a
I
half
think-
and half. I'm gonna play Squadrons, but then I still like those cute games too. You know?
I wish we'd have fewer higher quality AAA products. a spattling of like middle tier stuff and then some indie stuff. I kind of like
Yeah. Like I'll probably look at
offering.
Assassin's Creed, and I'm very interested in this new game by Square Enix, the Project Athia. I think I don't know what the final name.
Okay, I was waiting for a different game to come out. I was waiting for another game.
I knew you were gonna say. I knew you thought I was gonna say Stray, but
You
I'm
faked me
thinking-
out there.
I know, no, actual game. And then, oh man, Mortal Shell. I don't know if that's out for console, but I would be interested in checking that out.
So artistically, meaning and philosophy. So artistically, yes, I do think that there is a. So let's be very clear. When we talk about the AAA gaming space, we tend to think of 3 or 4 companies, but those 3 or 4 companies own multiple studios within their umbrella organization. So there are dozens and dozens and dozens of AAA studios out there. So to answer your question, when I think of AAA, what I think of is pushing the boundaries on the scope of a game, the quality, the art of a game, and usually I'll at least say Hollywood quality or novel quality storytelling. I think that we have, in the last decade, moved towards less quality gameplay and more higher quality graphics as the answer to what AAA is, less quality coding, and you're seeing these products that are coming out that people are really unsatisfied with. And then you add in the layer of monetization and in-app purchases and paywalls and all the disaster mistakes that EA has made. And so AAA almost has created this backlash that has benefited indies. And in my time in the gaming space, which is about 15 years, indies have gone from being like, I'm in my basement programming at night, to being teams of 20 people, 30 people still an indie studio. And so in my mind, I do think that indie is moving more that way. AAA is moving to indie. There's kind of a yin and yang element to it. But I do think that you're going to see a split where we call it triple I, right? Indie AAA quality, but smaller team, because the tool sets have empowered. 10 years ago, you take a product that took, 80 people to make, 10 people can make that same product today because of the tool set improvements, right? Now, most of that comes into the art side and the outsourcing, and there's a lot of different tools now to that, and we'll get into all that right now. But I still think AAA gaming will be AAA gaming collectively. I think that they recognize at the bigger level that they have failed the gaming community what they want. The problem is when you're in these organizations that are driven by quarterly profits, it takes them years, not weeks or months. It takes them years to pivot, right? So for example, Activision used to have 3 teams making Call of Duty. They made a new Call of Duty every year. They scratched one of those teams and divided it into the other 2 to serve the other 2 teams. And now 2 teams making Call of Duty, and they're alternating that. So why do they do that? The direction of Call of Duty was the sci-fi became almost Halo-ish, and the people just quit liking it. And we look at the new Call of Duty that just came out. Warzone has double the last, actually I think triple the last Call of Duty's numbers. So it just takes them longer to catch back up, even if they recognize the problem, because the size of the beast of the organizations, they just can't move quickly. Indies have that ability, right? I make a game and I'm like, well, the people like this and like that. I could, at the same time, it takes EA or Activision to pivot. I can have 2 or 3 games out as an indie studio. And so indies do have a narrative control that AAA studios don't get to have, and vice versa. AAA studios get to have that major arc and the innovation of pushing technology. Indies have the gameplay innovation, in my opinion. So to your point at the philosophy, that's probably a long rant, but I think that makes sense. But that's really where I see it. I think there's a yin and yang on both sides of that, where indie moves to AAA, but AAA moves to indie, and they bleed over into each other in different places. And also the shuffling of talent, and that's another thing people don't talk about. I may go work at EA, I may go work at the Maxine game studio, and then end up going back to EA, and then go back to the Chin studio and back to EA. Well, you pick up and learn different things, and each of those organizations you leave your mark in some capacity. So
Nobody leaves my studio. It's so amazing, but
well, that's fair, Jeremy. You've employed but one person.
Yeah,
and they never quit, right?
I know they've never left.
100% success rate.
He's
I
the
know.
most loyal guy.
There's a kitchen in the office. We get sweet Herman Miller chairs.
Oh, okay. Well, now you're on par of the EA. Okay.
We're going back to the chair talk now.
I know.
We're all very excited about this chair.
There's the dogs in the office.
There you go.
Oh yeah.
Eli, did that answer your question at all? Did that help? I know I did a long rant there, but it's something I think it's a great question, and we could honestly talk the whole entire time about it, frankly. Sorry, I just can't.
And in fact, we don't have that many topics, so please do continue asking.
Yeah. I think it's similar. It's similar in any sort of large studio. It's the same thing that happens with, really big movies and big VFX studios. It's the same thing. Like, it's so much harder to adapt and to realign the way that the business functions because there's just too many people. There's so many people part of it.
I have
There's
been
so many
on movies where
projects
they give it their best shot, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can pivot
That's
halfway
true.
through this film. Why not?
Yeah. Movies are worse than games for that. Well, gaming tries it too, but
they work out. It always works out great.
it's a beautiful decision.
Yeah. We decided to implement this new pipeline. I know we're almost done the movie, but we really got to get this back end, financial planning system in, now. Oh, great.
My favorite is like, what are we making? I don't know. They're still writing the last third of the film.
Oh,
Huh.
yeah.
I know the original plan was to have aliens come and attack Earth, but now it takes place in the medieval era. There's no aliens; they're demons from hell. We can that's no problem. Just transition, right?
Same
Yep.
premise.
Sure.
Basically the same story.
That'd be great.
Just completely different characters,
That'd be great.
environment. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
and they need to have 6 legs instead of they're not bipedal. Is that a problem?
Yeah, but you can just duplicate.
All right.
It's just copy paste on the characters.
That's
Yeah.
right. Just extend the shoulder joints.
Yeah.
All of the legs are still going to be walking, right?
I know.
they're all
I-
just doing this. How hard can it be?
I know.
My son, he uses, Flash and he makes stuff walk and run all the time. It's easy. It's easy to do that,
Exactly.
right? Yeah.
How hard can it be?
I know. We did not do this, but we played around with the idea of giving the students like actual client briefs for
Oh,
our course assignments.
Yes, let's scare them away from
Yeah. We've thankfully
being in the industry.
we have spared you. And we're much more detailed than that, but yeah, I want something mysterious that scares me a little bit, but makes me feel inspired. Go.
I remember a couple streams ago that you said you were working on something. What has become of it now? Do you remember?
I'm still working on it. No, it actually, I've made progress.
oh,
No, like I was in modeling for 14 years and I do a lot of spreadsheets now, but occasionally I like to dabble and make sure I still at least know how the software works. So I'm messing around with
It's
some
important.
things. Yeah. And I wanted to learn Unreal, so I'm messing. It's giving me kind of a chance to dig into it a bit.
Nice. I don't know how new it is, but I just saw it today. I saw a really cool kind of like promo video for Unreal. And it was just another one of those like beautiful VFX kind of trailers, but it was all just promoting Unreal. So I'm assuming that the whole thing was done using that or most of it. It's so cool. I posted it today somewhere in the Slack
it's like
channel.
a cool Unreal video came out. I was like, that's like every video that has come out from.
I know.
No.
That's so true.
Yeah, World Order, I will either post it up eventually or I'll actually use it for something and you will never know. So that's kind of how that goes.
oh man. So World Order, what are you working on right now? What
I know.
have you-
More importantly,
A new world order.
a new world. Can it be worse than
Low-key.
our current World Order? I don't know.
Yeah. Should I be scared or excited?
Exactly. Well, Jeremy's trying to say he wanted to find some inspiration that kind of scared him but inspired him. I guess we found it, maybe. I don't know.
oh,
Um,
the Dune trailer came out.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
So
I
have
wanted
a
to talk
lot.
about that.
So I
I
have
wanted
a
to talk
lot.
about that.
I did too.
We
Uh,
should.
Twitter
Oh.
is having a meltdown over it.
What? Why?
Really? Why?
What's wrong with
Oh,
What
Twitter?
about it?
So it's great. Woke Twitter's upset. Conservative Twitter's upset. The people that love it are in the middle, being attacked by both sides. It's brilliant. It's like Twitter drama 101. I think it looked amazing. So very out of the gates. I'm a
There
fan
we
of
go.
Dune, a fan of the books. I get why people don't like the character change. But it looked
What's the
really
character
good.
change? Give us a little.
Those
Okay,
are
so-
I didn't read the books.
Steeped in Dune history.
They took a guy and made it a black female as the lead. So people are upset about that.
You know,
So-
that's happening now, though. You know, it's like,
Well,
I get it, but also like, you know.
Well, I don't think people are upset because the racial issue. The Dune fans are upset because they're changing. It's the book people, right? It's like, oh, but the book is this way, and like you have violated the sacred text of the book. I mean, because Lord of the Rings had this, Harry Potter's had this. Like, you have, and I get it. Like, I do get that fans want to see, like, and I say fans, especially of novels. They really get really passionate about that because you're attached to the character and you want to see the character on screen. So I totally get that. I was extremely disappointed in the quality of the I'm blanking on the name of the series now. The Dark Tower, when they came out with the Dark Tower, right? Trying to claim all these parts. But I like Idris Elba fit the character perfectly. I know he's not an old white guy, but he crushed the part, right? I loved it. But the writing for the rest was just a hodgepodge disaster. So I was really disappointed in it as a fan of the book series. The Dune, when you change a character like that, like my whole point is that the whole entire narrative of Dune is about colonialism taking over Arab oil. I mean, that's really what the book is about. Like it's an allegory for that, right? Or analogy, I guess. Sorry. So I think they do a great job of it. I think going back to the old films, even to the video games, I think from what it tells, it looks like it stays pretty close to that. But people are spazzing out about it on all sides, all kinds of people. And I think the general voice is, this looks really good. This looks really cool. I want to see this. But to me, it's all good, right? That's all PR, right? As long as they're talking about it. If you've never heard of Dune, you're like, what's Dune? It's trending on Twitter. Oh,
Well,
looks
it's
good.
Exactly.
It's a complex one to describe, I think, too. So
Yeah.
that's an easy way to get people.
I'm of like so I don't know, controversial idea maybe. So I remember reading the Harry Potter books as a kid. Like I read all of them, or at least the first 3 before they started making movies. And I remember, like, you know, and I understand, like, you kind of imagine these people in your head, even down to how they pronounce their names sometimes.
Yeah.
You know, like Hermione. I didn't know that's how you said it. I was saying it something like Hermione in my head, but for
Little
3
Maxine
books,
was like
that's what-
Hermione.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm reading. I'm like, okay, Hermione. And
like
and you
it,
know,
actually.
you imagine it in your head, and you see these people, and my imagination was so good. I just couldn't get behind the movies. I still watched every single one because you just have to. But for some reason, they just never stuck with me. And they hadn't even like switched any characters out. It was just this feeling of I had this idea in my head and it just wasn't executed like to the extent that it was played in my head, even though it was still groundbreaking VFX, beautiful movies. Like I can still watch them and appreciate them for what they are. But sometimes it just doesn't, it's just not the same as what's in your head, regardless of whether they change characters or not. And so when I hear people complain about that, I'm like, I get it. But also, it's like, even if they didn't change the character, there'd probably something else that wouldn't be the same as what you imagined. And then, you know, something would still be upsetting. I don't know.
Well,
Anyway, that's my story.
Well, going back to like controversy, like a couple months back, we had the whole Last of Us 2 situation, and like whatever you think about the reasons for things, there was clearly a faction of people that didn't like the LGBT storyline. There are people that didn't like some of the character changes. Like it was a wide spectrum of issues that really made it look like a whole bunch of people hate it for one reason, but it was a bunch of issues. what I in my limited time of looking at it on Twitter, it didn't seem to be the racial issue or even the gender issue as much as they're changing the story. Like they're changing what I like, to your point, right? Like that's not the character. You didn't bring the character to life. And so I guess at one level that's encouraging, like because I don't get the racial thing. I do get the book thing. Like I have this vision in my mind of what this character is supposed to be based on what I've read in this book for 30 years of my life,
Yeah,
right?
and then you see it and you're like,
And you're like, oh, that is not it. Like, so that seemed to be the bulk of what I saw. I know that Twitter also tends to take the algorithms and point things towards you of what you like to see. But so I was encouraged about that because that makes sense to me. But the quality of this product, like just looking at what they did with it, like it's amazing in my opinion. So
yeah.
You know, I think we talked about this too, but like, you know, this is the guy who did the last Blade Runner, right? Which I thought was really good. So
Yeah, Denis Villeneuve.
Mhm.
Villeneuve, yeah.
Yeah,
Hermione.
that's his last name.
I love Blade Runner.
I just call him Big Dennis. Big Dennis.
Yeah. No, I know what you mean. It's weird. Like I part of me gets why people are upset, but then another part of me is like, but still, can't you just understand or appreciate it as just another form of the story? You know what I mean? I don't know.
Well, and
I'm
Well,
like
there are
so on the
plenty
fence. It's not even
there's
funny,
plenty
but
examples of characters that have failed miserably, even though they were cast exactly like the book. You know.
yeah.
well, yeah. See, exactly. That's yeah.
Well,
That's how I feel about Harry Potter. But
Looking
then
at
you know, people love him.
Spider-Man. You know.
All of them.
Peter Parker. I just pulled the cast here. This cast is insane. Zendaya, Rebecca Ferguson, Jason Momoa, David Bautista, Josh Brolin, Oscar Isaac, Stellan Skarsgård, the dad of the Skarsgårds.
Oh, love
It's
him.
just
Yeah.
it's just everyone.
Javier Bardem. I mean, like it's a really good cast, right? And so
Oh,
like,
yeah.
and then it looks from the trailer. Let's pull the trailer up. It looks stunning. Like it's beautifully shot. This is the whole Star Wars conversation we had, right? Like I can't stand the last Star Wars movies, but you cannot tell me they aren't shot beautifully, right? Like from a cinematography perspective, they're gorgeous. I mean, I don't like the story or the writing or the character development, but they're beautiful. This is beautiful.
Well, I
Or
think
that someone else
they'll-
is gonna love it. I loved all the new Star
I
Wars.
think they'll serve his. I think they'll serve his type of film really well because he has those very close
Yeah.
like character shots,
Yeah.
and they need actors with the.
So
gravitas to
Timothy
pull
is
that off.
such a unique looking person. Like he just has such a distinct look about him as an actor and as just a human.
Oh, if we're gonna stop talking,
That's
I'll
cool.
throw the sound up.
Remove your hand from the box.
We're all just in awe.
Yeah.
What's in the box?
Pain. You inherit too much power. You have proven you can rule yourself. Now you must learn to rule others. Something none of your ancestors learned.
My father rules an entire planet.
He's losing it.
He's getting a richer one.
He'll lose that one too.
This like has that big world, almost
Arrakis
Star
is a
Wars
death
feel
trap.
to it. Like just really high concept fantasy,
This is an extermination.
It was
and
big budget.
cinematic.
They're picking my family off
It's
one
really
by
big
one.
budget.
Let's fight like demons.
An animal caught in a trap will gnaw off its own leg to escape. What will you do?
I know you.
Is Zendaya's character the one that was switched?
Yeah.
See, she's so good. Like, how could you hate that? But you know,
Legend
whatever.
will be
People
born.
I mean, it's a pretty
people
big
have different
shift.
tastes. It's fine.
It's a pretty big shift.
Civilization depends on it.
I mean, like as a writer, because I do some writing too. Like to write as a male and a female, there is a very different perspective usually in that structure, right? Like to do it
That's not
authentically.
fear.
So there's got to be some changes because I don't think these guys are bad writers. So,
Fear is the mind.
but I mean,
killer.
Frank was part, or
My Lord Duke.
Where the fear is gone,
I think that his family was part of this or something. I saw somewhere. Don't quote me on that.
Go, go, go!
Yeah, the worms.
Yeah, Brian. Look at it.
Wow. The sand looks so good.
Right?
Like crispy.
That's because it's real. Duh.
It's all real, the whole thing. Dude.
It looks great.
Well done,
It's
everyone.
really good. It looks really good. Who worked on that? Does it say at the credits at the end? No, I guess it's just the little mini credits.
I don't know
Who worked it? What are like? Yeah, I wonder what.
I imagine it's
who's the main studio?
London studios.
I'm
Yeah.
curious. I think I was just in my own bubble, but I almost feel like I didn't know about this until it was like out already, you know,
It's
or like
Dean Egg.
What's weird to me is that this is a Christmas release. Like this screams summer release movie to me. But Star Wars have been doing Christmas releases, right?
Yeah.
So
I think everything
I
is
could see
a wait for
Christmas,
COVID
yeah.
release.
Yeah, that too.
so it was filmed in Jordan and Hungary and Norway and Austria. Perhaps there, United Arab Emirates and Slovakia. So 11 filming locations.
Wow.
They filmed it from March 19th to July 19th. Or yeah, so March 2019 to July 2019.
I think it might be the same team, same VFX team that worked on Blade Runner.
I bet money it is.
Yeah.
Which was amazing. Actually, we have some students that worked on that. Some graduates.
Oh, that's awesome. I wonder, that's a
Clear
really
angle
fast
studio.
shooting schedule. Like for such a big kind of movie.
That's what I was thinking too.
March.
Although a lot of it may have been post production too, right? There's probably a ton.
It's all just on green screen. It's fine.
Yeah.
Goes-
very
it goes real
limited.
fast.
Very limited on-set shooting needed.
But for all those locations, like to do it all in
sand.
3 months.
More sand.
Yeah.
More sand.
More
It's
sand.
like more cowbell, more sand.
Now, do we want to take bets? Let's say that I guess theaters are already open, but like what if they close again? Let's take bets. Do you guys think that they're going to go with a fully digital release or they're
No.
gonna try
They'll push it.
releasing in theaters?
No, they'll push it.
They'll push it to next summer.
Yeah, it's too big.
This is IMAX. They're planning on a lot of money on IMAX out of this.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's too big to do that with.
Dune is scheduled to be released in the United States on IMAX in 3D on December 18th. So, yeah. This is a total. This is
3D
the kind of
too.
movie. Yeah, this is the kind of movie that was made for theaters, right? Like,
Yeah.
not saying this won't be great at home on your 82-inch QLED whatever TV you have, but
I know. I do need to get a
my-
new television to
My
play Stray on.
31 inch. I have a terrible TV.
on
You
my
can't really tell.
on my
'cause it just
10-inch on my 8-inch long by 4-inch wide screen here that I have.
Yeah, I'll just play it on this and then plug my headphones in, right? Like same thing.
pretty much.
I'm watching. You
yeah.
know what? I'll wait till it's free on a plane.
No, you could do the get the little
That's when I'll
VR
watch it.
boxes. You put your headset in the VR box and go that way.
Want to throw up?
Tenet's already out.
Feel
World
sick.
Order.
Nothing says 2.5 hours in a 3D thing to make you feel better about yourself.
Yeah.
When is Tenet supposed to? Yeah, Tenet's
It's
out
already
already.
out.
No, but maybe you're
20
living in a
only-
different
Yeah, it's
country.
the only 29 million domestic, which would be the U.S. market, which is not good.
Wait, Tenet made
Tenet.
bank. It blew
Uh-huh.
up. It just did huge. It did 50 million in China. That just came out.
Well,
Oh, crazy.
207 worldwide so far, but that probably doesn't even cover the cost.
Well, but
But in the
Tenet would
U.S.,
do it.
it's only 29 million, which is awful.
Mm. Oh yeah, that's
Wow.
pretty bad for a movie that big.
But
Yeah.
the theaters are like,
Oh,
Restricted.
Box Office Mojo has been purchased by IMDb. Did not know that.
oh yeah, happened earlier this year, into last year.
IMDb is owned by Amazon. For those that don't know.
Huh. I didn't know that. Actually,
Yeah.
no, I did. I feel like I read that
Come
somewhere.
into
I was
the
like,
fold.
everything's owned by like
Well,
3 companies.
What's
anyway.
interesting is IMDb used to have they used to list like all the budget costs, and now or Box Office Mojo did, and they pulled most of that stuff out now. You have to
Oh,
have the
really?
premium. They have to have the premium version.
Oh,
How do you feel
really?
about the multiplayer trailer for Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War? Let's pull that up too.
All right,
I haven't
do it.
seen it.
Ah, it's no Squadrons.
It's no Squadrons. No.
Hey, Maxine, I'm serious. I will totally play. I will totally.
I
play
will.
this
I
with
will.
you.
Yeah, I really want to
100,000%.
test out my laptop. I got this sick new laptop.
All right. Let's do it.
All right.
Yeah, and I max those settings. You know.
I'm trying to convince my wife that I need to upgrade to a 3090.
don't even know what I have.
3090. Yeah.
I have a
wife-
1080p.
my wife's intelligent, and she's like,
That's too many numbers.
I'm like, it's only $1,500.
The 3070 will do you just fine. Are you playing
you
in
know-
8K?
What if she's watching this right now? Now she's gonna hear you say that, Jeremy, and she's gonna lose it against me. Well, Jeremy said it. 70's fine.
But it is
She's
the
not
only new
watching.
card that can use the MV link. So when Ryan needs 2 cards, which you do need working
I
at our
do-
school,
That's right, Jeremy. You're right. I do
then
need
you're
that.
really just forced to get the 3090. So
How do I check what I have? Because I took the sticker off.
and if you're gonna buy 2 49-inch
Real
widescreen
question.
monitors to stack on top of them, you need 3090s to run one
Like in the
each.
settings somewhere, right?
Yes, go hit your little Windows button and go
Hit
to
my
the
Windows button.
little system. The little system.
And then it's like
thing.
about my computer. Where's that?
click on system and go down to about. And
System.
it'll say device
We're
specification.
gonna do
About-
tech support on our stream
Listen,
now.
what do we have over here? But which one of these things is it?
What video cards are you guys running in chat? Let's see it.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're looking for.
I
Video
can't
cards.
tell if I'm trolling you or myself here.
Sorry, I'm so sorry. I have led you astray. I apologize. You're looking to go to the actual your graphics card settings.
Right?
Yes, I apologize. I've
You
led you to
should.
the wrong spot. If you go to type in
What
just
if I go
system-
into the MSI Dragon Center?
just type in system.
don't do that.
would actually probably do. System
There's all these
information.
things.
Don't chase
Okay.
the dragon.
It should list it there.
I should know this. I just got this thing. I got a GS66 Stealth. That's not.
I don't think that's a
That's not.
graphics card.
It's not what I'm. No, it's not.
No, so do you
It's
pull up
not.
system?
It's actually not. Oh no,
Did-
hardware resources.
Did
Here we
you
go.
go to system information? Did you type in system information?
Yeah, I'm there.
Right,
But now
so
there's all these other
So you see,
things here,
you see
right?
system summary, right? Components. You'll see
Components.
display,
There we
and it'll be
go.
their name. It'll list it there.
Okay, we got an NVIDIA GeForce RTX 2060, boys. That's what I
Oh,
got.
nice.
Amazing in a laptop.
It's pretty
That's
good.
Great. Yeah.
Yeah, no,
That's
that
why
is
I got
great
it.
on a
That's why I
laptop.
got it. That's why I got it. Yeah. And I got the Dragon Center locked and loaded, pre-installed in.
Excellent.
Keep having
Oh,
to
what
tell
are
it to
you?
not
What order's got
load
the
when I turn it on.
2080, Super. Nice.
I actually think that next Monday we should on stream
Nice.
do some you don't know Jack games with our fans, our viewers.
You have to explain that.
Yeah. I'm like,
Those
I'm
that have
nodding
not
my head.
played.
I'm like, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
For sure, we should do that.
It's like because they can play on their phone with us, and like we all play together. It's like party games,
Oh yeah. I like that. Like Mario Party.
but it's like all phone driven, right? So it's like fibbage is like you tell a lie and identify those lies. Anyway, let's watch the Call
Oh.
of Duty trailer here.
I think I played that at an actual party once.
I bet
Remember
you-
Yeah.
those?
Yeah. With people.
Yeah, people.
Well, they need like do they have a you don't know Jack like computer nerd version or something? It's just to play with like
Nerd version.
random questions.
They have
I know
they
it needs to
have
be
a I forget the
pointed.
fly swatting game. All right, so here we go. This is the Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War multiplayer reveal. Capture on PlayStation 5.
Whoa.
You're
All for
here
the
because you're the
fingerprints.
best special forces NATO has to offer.
You're all that keeps the world from turning to cinders, comrades.
Go back to that more realistic
work off
style
the
of
books.
gameplay.
Aren't you
Operating in the
always?
shadows.
To keep the wolves at bay.
Today, we
Reminds me of me
reshape
and
the
Jeremy
world.
did Black Ops back in the day. Real Black Ops.
You know that
Reminds me of my
Miami.
previous life.
in Miami. You know, they really gotta make the guns look good in
Let them
these
come.
games. That looks cool. I like how it's in Miami.
In the 80s. Oh, yeah.
There's a cool aesthetic to this.
I mean, this over-the-top insanity is great, right? Like, it's authentic.
That's why you're playing
but it's
it, right?
over-the-top. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's Modern Warfare. That's
I
all
mean,
it is.
like right there. Have you ever been on a boat before? Can you imagine holding a gun on a boat? It'd be like you're bouncing like this, like it's sniped him as he was going down the thing. This looks like it's gonna be a blast.
Throws it as he.
Angola. There we go. It's interesting they're using real-world locations this time.
That's true. I didn't think that.
Well, I guess because it's in the past, you can do that easier than currently. Like
Ah, shit.
less tension.
Soviet convoy disabled.
So this-
Gotta have a nice snowy landscape.
It's got everything.
One of the maps.
They've
One of the
got
maps
everything.
has to have.
What's the
you know-
We
story
have-
for the single player on this?
Does it matter? Sorry. It does for the people that play that.
So the story is
Cold War.
the Soviets don't like the Americans in the West, and the West don't like the Soviets. So, you know.
I've never
Very
done that
new
before.
concept. Yeah. Yeah.
Never
very-
done that
It-
before.
I know it's very counterintuitive. Man, this looks like a blast.
Yeah.
The speed of the gameplay looks awesome.
I hated playing the campaign, like the single player for games like this. Even though the story was usually pretty cool, I just found it so boring. I'm like, it's not. It's slower than.
Treyarch, this is Treyarch making
Whatever.
third.
Instant access to the Woods Operator Pack in Modern Warfare and Warzone.
All right, commercials.
Oh, you get some cool new sets if you pre-order.
Yep.
Classic. That's pretty cool. Might play that too. You know, winter's coming. We're gonna be
Winter
trying
is
a lot of
coming.
games this year.
Winter. Well, in Canada, it's a little more meaningful than in Georgia, Jeremy. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, it did. The first year we moved here, it snowed 3 times. It blew my mind because I lived in Georgia for like
You
12
were-
years.
wait a
And
minute.
it never snowed
Wait
once.
a
I'm like,
minute.
what is happening?
Are you sure they weren't just like filming something and then they had the fake snow like blowing at your window?
blowing it over to Jeremy's yard.
Yeah. It's snowing.
It might have been. It's starting to look like LA a little bit in that regard, like where there
It
are
might have
street
been.
closures constantly and big
beginning
unmarked
to
white
look a
trucks
lot
everywhere.
like Christmas.
It is the new Hollywood. So
That's
Yeah, I
true.
know. Definitely with the street closures and everything, it's great.
I think they actually filmed almost twice as many movies in Georgia this year as California.
Yeah,
Oh, I believe it.
We
Yeah.
do give away a lot of money,
Well, but it's also grown the state. There's no denying that, right?
and it's not
Mhm.
on fire.
Yeah, that's also
That helps.
helps.
Although if you were shooting like a horror movie or something, the red skies they've got going, you know,
the apocalyptic movie is perfect now for. Hey guys, listen, I know we're filming here in California. Please bring gas masks between scenes. Good
Yeah.
to go. All right. No, I mean we should. I mean it's actually really sad what's happening. I mean the amount of.
Oh no, it's awful.
Yeah, it's terrible, and the fact that almost all of it was arson driven or accident driven, right? Like,
Yeah, I think one of the gender reveal party was one of them.
mhm.
People
Well,
don't
they-
realize how quickly things can catch fire, you know?
Well,
Sometimes
they-
it feels so hard to make a fire, you know, if you've ever been camping or whatever, you know,
Yeah.
when you're not sitting in your Herman Miller chair You know, you have to make.
We promise we're not sponsored by these guys, despite the 75th plugin we just did for them.
Show the chair.
You're
Quick,
not
show the
sitting
chair.
in the Herman Miller
Clearly not
Logitech
Herman Miller.
GM body
Look at
chair.
those curves. You know, and sometimes it feels so hard to like keep a fire going. You're like, oh my god, it's crazy.
Not
How
when
did
it's
people do this
120 degrees.
before?
It's very easy.
Or-
But yeah,
Well, and
when the
people realize,
conditions are
too,
right,
When you get up in the higher altitude, the
Terrible.
moisture is not there, right? It's just dry. And
Yeah, it's
so,
very dry.
you know,
that's true too. Yeah.
I just read today too, they caught some Antifa guy trying to throw Molotovs into the woods outside of Portland, trying to catch things on fire. I'm like,
Sweet.
what is wrong with
Crazy.
people?
I think Portland will, because it's heading towards Portland now already, isn't it?
Oh, Oregon is like literally, my understanding is a ton of the state is being evacuated, like a lot.
The
Those-
air
those
quality
in
has
other
already
countries,
gotten worse in
the west
Vancouver.
coast in the U.S. is on fire.
Mm,
The fire
that's
map
terrible.
is just awful. It's just so, it's just awful. My heart goes out to those people. I mean, just truly just brutal.
Sledgehammer is working for workers at a new Melbourne studio. I noticed too, one of our mentors that teaches game design is actually working for them. If you take our game design course.
Ooh,
Yeah. Heath
there we go.
is working for Sledgehammer out in Melbourne.
That's a great opportunity.
Yep. Yeah, especially for entry level positions. That'd be great.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know
If you're a
if
student?
they all remote currently? Or are they going to the studio? I guess Melbourne's still under lockdown, so
Yeah, they're locked down, so it must be remote.
probably still.
Or at least
remote.
for now. A lot of places they're like, we're remote now, but we're hoping that you still are located here for when we do open. But you never know. It's kind of, it really depends now. A lot of companies are, changing things and adopting different models than they used to. So
Yeah, I think remote's here to stay. I think there'll still be some in studio stuff, but I mean, in order to be competitive, you have to let some people work remote. If you want to get the top talent, I
So-
think you'll have to say.
To make that transition to our main topic, the one
And if you do work from home, you get a Herman Miller chair to make sure you work.
you do need a Herman Miller chair, and it should
It
look
helps.
it should look as amazing as this one.
In stock
Especially
refrigerator
that
full
one.
of Viva coconut water.
No, it's
I don't have any products to
Waterloo
go off today.
sparkling water is the way to go.
This stream is unofficially sponsored by
Blue
my
IKEA
current fuel
glasses.
source. Blue IKEA glasses, exactly.
They make water taste good.
Do they? I need to have some.
Is it because it's leaching BPA or what?
Yes, actually, yes.
Excellent.
It has a nice aftertaste. Yeah. Kind of like Dasani, but better.
Oh, congratulations, Stu.
Nice, dude.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Can you share what you got, what you're doing? If not, that's no worries.
Or what, like where you're going overseas,
Yeah.
maybe.
But what I was going to say was it just came out. I think this has been in rumor for quite a while, but they're confirming that some of the tech companies now are starting to cut wages as people move away from the Bay Area and work from home.
I mean, that makes sense. Oh, nice. Gonna be working on some Star Citizen, huh?
Nice. Yeah,
Congratulations.
congratulations.
I mean, part of your costs, I feel like I can understand that, right? Because you're absorbing. Well, I think this goes back to going. I'm sorry. Let me take a step back, Jimmy. This goes back to our previous stream back in June. We will see more contract. Everything's become contract driven. So what's going to happen? That is what I predict will happen more and more and more, because I don't want to have to pay, 87 employees across, 22 states and 4 countries for healthcare.
Well, you just can't.
You can't.
Right.
That's my point.
Especially
right?
as a small employer, that's too much logistics to deal with.
So I think you'll see that. I think you'll see more of that. Because if I'm in the Bay Area and I'm making $110,000 a year, why would I not go to Georgia? Why would I not go to Tennessee or North Carolina or Virginia? Right?
Well, that's what they're saying is because you won't make $110,000 anymore. So at least for Facebook, they're saying if you move out of the Bay Area to Southern California, it's like a 10%, 11% pay cut. And if you move to somewhere like Denver, it's an 18% pay cut.
I think they're getting in trouble federally with the arbitrary number of reduction.
Well, unless they've set up they may have a huge chart or something to deal with that, but
yeah,
just
it'll be interesting to see.
I get it, but it's also just it's different when you're being hired. Like when you're starting new, it's like, okay, this is how much you're making.
Yeah.
But for people that already work there, that seems kind of strange.
I agree.
I almost feel like it's oh no, I don't know if it is when it comes to money, but I know here if you were
illegal
demoted, like it's basically the same as firing someone, so you're owed severance. Like if you want to leave, you could just go. If someone says like, oh, you're an artist now, and they're like, oh, we're gonna actually give you this like mid position, even if the pay was the same, just the fact that they've kind of demoted you with a title. I think there's some kind of legal thing against that.
We do not have
like
that
you
in
could
the
accept
US.
it, and if you're fine with it, then you're fine with it. But if you don't want to, then you could be like, that's effectively the same as firing me, and so I'm gonna go.
In the U.S., it's each state kind of sets its own policies for those kind of things. And California is all about punishing people for leaving the state right now because they are losing people. I think the first time in 30 years they actually have a net loss of people.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's people can't. I mean, you can't afford to live there, right? I mean,
You can't afford to live there. Plus, you can afford to live there, but it's on fire.
Yeah, it's dangerous.
The cities are all dumpster fires for different reasons, and I mean, it's interesting. And there's a lot of political stuff, so let's not get into that on this stream. But I think the reality is there are a lot better places to live than California. The weather now is not enough to keep you in California because it's all burning to the ground. So
yeah, you can't enjoy the heat.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, it's so nice and warm here. Like,
well, they also have a massive homeless problem, which is causing people who are
right
for helping people like politically, these people that vote this kind of policy, it's gotten so out of control. They're like, I don't feel safe in my neighborhood. I don't, I mean, you look at LA, it's just being overrun. I mean, it's gross. The Bay Area the same way, and so I think people are just. I mean, they're moving to Texas. They're moving to Arizona. I mean, you're seeing it happen. I mean, it's. I think Texas saw a net of like 35,000 or 40,000 people from California move to Texas.
Oh well, yeah.
It's changing a lot, yeah.
And when you don't have to stay there, you can work from home.
Well, and working remotely, like, well, I've always wanted to go. I wanted to live in Nova Scotia, but there's no jobs. Well, now there is. I can go do my job and live in Nova Scotia. I think you'll see people go live places they want to be, maybe closer to family. And my gut is that the driving factor will be if you can work remotely is family. I want to be closer. Like if I have kids, so I have a guy that works for me at Forthright whose parents live across the country from him. And he has two kids that are 9 and 13, and their grandparents are both sets of grandparents are across the country. So they're looking at moving now because they want to be able to be closer to their family. And who can fault them,
Mm-hmm. Free childcare. But also it's the space. Like I know even here in Toronto, there's all these news reports about how more and more people are leaving the city, even if they're not going too far, even if they're only going half an hour out, just that, like you can get so much more space for the same amount of money. So especially if you have a family, and you're living in a tiny condo, you could literally have like all of your kids could have their own bedroom, like stuff like that. That's like taken for granted all over the world.
You no longer have to commute for an hour.
And that too.
That's the biggest thing. I mean, you think about. I have a good friend of mine that lives in outside of in Greater LA, and he's in the vehicle 2 to 3 hours a day there and back every day, right? So just by being able to work remotely from home, he gains almost half a work week in time that he's home. I mean, like that's do you?
Huge.
Yeah,
I've been there.
Like
it's awful.
It's awful. I mean, so it's a situation where what's going to be interesting to happen though is that California's going to hit a problem where they won't be able to sell their houses because they're not moving people in, right? And if that's happening, that creates a problem because then how do you get out if you can't get rid of your home cost?
Yep.
Yeah, it's tricky. I don't know. Times are changing, and it's one of those things where you can see things moving slowly or, seemingly quickly, but we won't really know for, like 5 years what the huge impacts are. Like people are moving. But I wonder if it's going to shift back. It's hard to say.
And our students too is like, what should students do to prepare for this type of world, right? Because if you're moving away and then they're gonna pay people less than these other states, let's say, but VFX is done worldwide, animation is done worldwide. We're not limited to grabbing someone and even in your same country, you can go around the world where cost of living is much, much cheaper.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's funny because a lot of the students I've talked to recently are really worried because they do live in a place that doesn't have a big industry. And it's like the opposite. And they're like, oh, well, I don't live in this big film hub like LA or New York. How do I get a job? What do I do when I'm in this other place? So, I mean, I've definitely been trying to keep those people at ease because I think now more than ever, there are more opportunities to work remotely. I've already talked to quite a few students who have secured work, even if it is part-time or freelance on these remote jobs, which is so exciting. They're creating assets for games and stuff like that. So it's pretty cool. It's happening. It feels slow now. So I know how it can feel frustrating when you just want to get in there and work at a studio. But I think first and foremost, and what we've been talking about at CG Spectrum since before I even showed up, is portfolio. You need a portfolio. If you want to secure work anywhere in the world, you need that first. People need to trust that you can create something good. No matter what your craft is, whether you're a game designer or you're a 3D modeler and everything in between, if you can't create something great and showcase your skills, nobody is going to trust you. And I think before COVID happened, the trend was, it was mostly really successful people who had worked in studios before could get these high-level freelance work types of work because there are people who already kind of got their base, they have their client base, people trust them, people have worked with them. So they're more likely to get work after that because then once a big project comes up and they're like, oh, well, I could really use someone like Ryan. Oh, well, why don't we just call him? What's he up to? I heard he works from home. Oh, okay, let's just call him. And then Ryan gets work. But that's now happening at a larger scale. I think there's going to be more opportunities for junior work in the very near future because people are a little bit more open-minded and trusting than they were in the past because of how well so many of these industries have handled COVID and these crazy changes. They're like, oh, well, actually, our productivity was still pretty good. So maybe this is more possible than we thought it was. So I think there will be more. I'm slowly starting to see more jobs out there. But again, especially if you're entry level, you have to have that portfolio. And if you can show off that you can create this stuff and you can do it at a high quality level, and if you can show that you have, developed some form of teamwork, whether it's a game jam that you do with some people or you do a short film with other students around the world and other artists that are like within your skill level, like that shows that you can work with a team, like aside from just writing it on your resume. Like that's a tangible way to show that you're a team player, to show that you know how to manage deadlines and stuff like that without actually having to work at a studio. So, but yeah, it's all about portfolio. That has never changed.
Well, and that's what CG Spectrum helps, right? That's what we do well for the students, right? Is that we, you have the fact that CG Spectrum has a curriculum and it has industry talent that has helped you get to that point, but B, we specifically designed courses to gear you towards having that portfolio because we know how important that is. And, you know, I think that's one of the things that we do to really stand out from others in the field. You know, we do a great job of that, and our placement rate shows that, you know.
I
That's
think
true.
something I think I'd like to press on the students, people as well, just anybody, even if you're not a student but you're watching this, is there's going to be additional skills that are going to be necessary in this type of environment, and that's business skills for yourself. Because freelancing is not, especially when you're first starting out, it's not always smooth sailing at the beginning. Clients
We're like
don't,
never.
clients
It's
don't
never
always,
I was gonna say,
clients don't always like to pay you after you do your work.
Yep.
And you know, there's things like you need to understand like what net 60 is and what net 90 is, and you know, if you're gonna do your work but not get paid for 4 months until it's after it's done,
and to not scare you away, they do that to big companies too. It's not just they're taking advantage of you as a little guy. That's how they operate, you know, period.
Yeah, it helps them for their, you know, they're on their books. That's how you can push money around. So yes, they do that to everybody, but it's good to understand those types of things and what you're getting into, and you know, learn how to read the basics of a contract and learn how to you know, save and get a nice working environment at home. You're not going to have all the IT support and stuff you'd have at a big studio. So learn you know, how to fix your equipment, your basic equipment reasonably well, stay up to date with that sort of stuff. So there's those things that I think are going to become more and more important in this type of environment, that maybe aren't necessarily talked about as often as they will need to be.
I also think, sorry, go ahead, Maxine.
Oh, thank you. I mean, my background as a project manager, as a producer, a lot of what I did was manage people's time in the studio. Like I would walk around to people's desks and oh my God, you guys are probably like, oh my God, I hate it when people do this. And be like, hey, where are you at with this? Hey, or I'd message them. Hey, how's that thing coming along? How's it going? And yes, it's annoying, but someone has to do that. Someone has to stay on top of time, especially for the people who aren't good at doing that themselves. But now when people are working from home, you can't do that very easily. So again, it's another one of those things where if you can show that you can manage your own time really well, if you can start to keep track of that now, if you're thinking about working remotely in the future at any point in time, the sooner you start to learn how to manage your time better, the better off you'll be, because you can start to give more accurate estimates. I think this is going to take 2 days. I think this is going to take 2 weeks. And even if you're slightly off, like the closer you are, the more reliable you are to the other people around you and the people that you're working with. As a freelancer, like time is everything. I think in any role. So it's one of those things that, you know, again, it's another one of those things like IT support that you're going to have to do yourself. And so if you're someone that procrastinates a lot, man, are you going to have trouble as a freelancer? Because you're just going to be stuck at like the last minute trying to get everything done and not being able to handle it, you know?
The other thing too is, as a freelancer, is you also, in a job setting situation where you have the ability to build relationship, you have less of that, and it is really more about your execution. You know, and you're also competing now. The one thing too is the opportunity that's presented to other juniors means that there's more people to compete for your time and your space on that, right? So the ability to estimate what you're doing is really important. The ability to execute is really important. One thing that I've run into with freelancers that I have hired myself is they tend to have 4 or 5 projects they're trying to balance at one time to keep their pay going forward, right? They're working on this here or this here. And so it's very frustrating when you give deadlines and they're, and then it's 2 weeks later and then you get it in. And I don't hire that person again, right? I've had a guy that for the last 18 months has always messaged me every month, and I'm like, dude, I'm never hiring you again. You were 6 weeks late. Well, blah, blah, blah. 6 weeks late, dude. Like, sorry, 6 weeks is 6 weeks. Like, never give me another shot. And he did great work. Like the quality of what he gave me was great, but he was 6 weeks behind schedule, which put everything behind schedule on the project. So I use it to say is it is even more so about your ability to execute and not be overwhelmed.
In those big visual effects studios, like they need stuff the next day, so it's not.
Yeah.
I mean, it would never be 6 weeks late because they would fire you and hire someone else to do it because they need it right then.
Yeah, someone else would do it at the 3-week mark. Like, well,
Yeah.
we're not getting anything here. But again, communication is everything, because if, whoever you're working with, Ryan, let's call him Max. Max,
Bob.
if they told
Bob
you,
the builder.
4 weeks before it was due, hey, I don't think it's gonna hit that, that mark that I thought it would hit, then even though that still isn't great, at least they're giving you enough time to then, okay, I'm going to redirect my schedule. I'm going to try to get something else done in these, 6 weeks. And then maybe I'll get someone else started on this other task. Okay. And then you can kind of replan things around it. You can tell the other people that are down the line that, hey, you're not going to get this until this date. So now they're not on standby waiting for this thing. So a lot of the times, if you know that you're late with something, which is going to happen more often than not, the earlier that you can communicate that, the earlier that you can give your manager, your client, whoever it is, your coworker even, your equal, if you can communicate to them where you're at as often as possible, then it's much easier to redirect and change the schedule or alter the plan. Whatever the plan is, it's much easier to kind of change if you give notice. But if you wait till the day it's due and you're like, yeah, so I don't have it, then you're screwed, or at least you're screwing over other people down the line. Then those people have less time to do what they have to do, so now they're rushed, and it just kind of
and people
messes
don't see
everyone up.
when they're working at home. And I'm sure you can speak to this even more, Maxine, about like the enormous amount of information that's being juggled at the producer level, or like the central command of any film or game.
Like you're worried about your own thing. Like you're like, let's say you're doing a concept design for something. There is a modeler waiting to start after you. They're like, I know I have to make this dragon, but I can't start it until I get the concept. So they're on the line. We're planning for them to start in 2 weeks. And then if that doesn't work and it starts 3 weeks from now we're 1 week behind. And then they might still need their full 4 weeks to create the model. And so now, and everything kind of gets shifted. A lot of stuff happens in tandem. So a lot of different pieces of the puzzle happen at the same time. Things get thrown off on, I was gonna say almost every project, but probably literally every single project, something doesn't happen as planned.
Every single project you ever work on, ever, in any capacity, something will go wrong.
Yeah.
I promise. It's the only thing you can guarantee in our industry. Whatever you think is going to happen, something will go wrong.
At least one thing will go wrong.
Minimally one thing.
Yeah. And that's a lot of the job of the people who are managing, the producers, the project managers, the coordinators. So as long as you accept that, okay, this didn't turn out as planned, the sooner you communicate that to the team, they share it, they can replan, re-strategize. And then that's what keeps things going. That's literally their job. A project manager, a producer, is to manage issues as they arise. Obviously, hopefully, if you plan it really well, there's less issues. But again, it's bound to happen at least once. How can you redirect and reprioritize things and change the plan slightly so that you can still make that end goal, And sometimes it's not even just about, anyone being lazy or procrastinating, or it's not always a singular reason or someone's bad. It's his bad or her bad. Like, oh, they messed up. It's not always about that. Sometimes it's things that you didn't expect. Sometimes
a lot of
it's
times it's legitimate stuff that comes up too.
Yeah. Right? Someone gets sick, then what do you do? And then someone else has to pick it up for them. Or, oh my God, the building that the studio is in had a power shutdown. And so for the rest of the day, nobody could work. And what do? You now lost tens of hours of productivity across all of the people on the one project. How do you get that time back in the long run? So it's not always like your fault, their fault, or anything. But again, it's that idea of redirecting the efforts whenever possible to be more efficient and to get it done. So communication's everything, whether you're working remotely or not.
Well, I'll tell you point blank, like, and Jeremy can vouch for this too. We were doing something last year. This all kind of started. I was not used to overly communicating via remote work, and so Jeremy and I had to have a chit chat about just over communication and doing a better job of that. So, I mean, even if you're been around, it's still communicating is important. Over communication is better than no communication. You know, all those things factor in.
One has to be very intentional about it too. Like,
yeah,
it's not because you can't run into somebody in the hall anymore. So you
That's
can't,
right.
you don't walk by them and be like, hey, what's up? What are you doing?
Yeah,
Like,
how's
that
this
doesn't
going?
happen anymore. You have to intention. And even if you're in Slack and you have a big thing going on, you have to be like, all right, I want to talk to this person. You have to look them up, find their name, start a chat up, and then type a message to them.
Especially as a junior, if you're just starting out as well, right? Like, don't be afraid to say, hey, question, or I think there's obviously you don't be the person that asks a question for every single step of the way, because it shows you know what you're doing. But my
But
policy
it's better than not.
when in doubt, ask, because what you don't want to do is, I'm doing the right thing, and then 3 weeks later you're like, oops, I failed that job, and then you're fired. Like, or even if you're not fired, but just you wasted 3 weeks of time. And so it's always better to ask questions, especially early on.
Yeah, and we're talking in week time frames, but this is really days.
Days, especially in film. The same day, that day. Like, this is due end of business today. I need this done.
Yeah, like I was working on a project remotely, and I think I worked just for 3 days. And this wasn't something I hadn't asked about. This is something they hadn't communicated to me back. And the whole 3 days ended up being wasted just because a coordinator hadn't told me something. But that comes back on you, right? So you definitely communicating is over communicating is the way to go. And I think, and I have no insight into this, but this would be my prediction as someone that works in hiring. These companies are going to start taking note of who delivers, and coordinators change jobs and go to different companies. Recruiters change jobs and go to different companies. Like, there's going to be lists that start going around, I guarantee it, about who is effective at freelancing, because it's very hard to hire people over remote. It's difficult. It's hard to interview. It's hard to test them. It's hard to see what's going on. It's hard to know what they're going to deliver. So people that can are definitely going to start getting rehired a lot.
So here's a question I have, Jeremy, which is, there are people that frankly are great in this right now that I don't think are going to be good freelancers, right? Like, there are people that need to be in an office setting, that need that environment, right? And so will there be a space for both going forward, do you think?
I would think I can't imagine most studios are going to go fully remote. Some aspects of the projects are very difficult to do, especially when you get into talking about feature animation. And I would think even game dev as well, like when you're writing stories and really doing the creative iteration process, it's extremely difficult to do remotely, because you're just not in there bouncing ideas off each other and doing all that.
Netflix CEO came out and said point blank, he thinks that remote work is awful. It's bad for the company. He doesn't want it.
I think they're very much on their they like to have their creative hub stuff all together. Netflix for sure. They kind of doubled down in LA as well, because most of the writing talent is there, and they really want to work.
Writing LA is the writing hub. That's a fact.
But I do think the parts of the production process that can be, I mean, I'm hesitant to use the word commoditized, but it is that a little bit. The parts of the process that can be broken off into discrete tasks are very ripe for remote work, and I think a lot of the artists would enjoy that as well. But it is going to come with these changes for sure. And then you're probably going to see some new companies spring up that do basically global HR for this type of thing. I guarantee
yeah.
someone is probably working on that already.
I've
So-
seen those already. Like they're
Yeah.
using them more for like small companies that like can't afford their own dedicated HR team.
Yeah, like they kind of
Yeah.
like a syndicate almost, for lack of a better word.
Yeah, and it's like you have like a bunch of kind of like a doctor's office. There's like a bunch of HR people that all work for their own company, and then they consult. So it's kind of like a pay-as-you-go HR person.
They have it's called a
but it's
PEO.
kinda
So
cool.
it's a partner employer organization, and basically they hire everybody, and you're kind of paying them. So they're kind of like the employer of record, and then all your employees get access to group healthcare. Like for the U.S., that's an important thing.
Yeah.
At lower rates and things like
we don't have
that. Because we don't have government healthcare. But
I pay
I was
over
like,
I pay over $2,000 a month for my family healthcare out of my pocket.
Oh wow.
Yep.
That's a good time.
And then,
so
but
that's
like,
a
do you have
very
to pay
important
extra
thing.
on top of that? Like when you go to the
Oh
doctor?
yeah, I do absolutely. I still have a minimum. Yeah.
That's just
What
for
does it cover?
the
What do you
privilege
get
of
for that?
insurance.
It's it gives
Sorry,
the
I'm
benefit
Canadian
of,
for anyone who's watching. I'm like shocked. My eyes.
It gives us the benefit of if we have a car wreck and almost all die and we have catastrophic costs, those get capped essentially. That's really the benefit of it. I mean, it's a little bit better than that, but not by much. I mean, I'm a little jaded on it personally.
Yeah.
But yeah.
That's
anyway.
scary.
Real fast, we actually have a question from Drawn Skull, which I think has been there for a little bit. With COVID still going on at the moment, what if a person wants to make their own brand, company, and business and film animation, etc.? Will all that stuff have to be done online now that people can't go back into their studios?
Yes.
Pretty much.
Yeah, basically.
But all of that can be done online easily, and I would recommend it should be at least. I can't imagine you want to go to any city office and file a bunch of paperwork. It could be easily done online. So even if it weren't in COVID, I would recommend doing that.
Yeah, I actually have a office space that we're paying for to the end of the year, and they actually, because they have no one in the office, the no one in the building. They're like, hey, if you pay half, we'll give you credit for half of next year, and so it's like, okay, we'll extend the lease at half the value.
Stu makes a funny point here because I have a friend that like had the exact opposite experience. He said, I had lost a client this year because I found the communication overwhelming when it was email after email. I also had a great client this year because communication was on Slack and nice and clear over chats. I have some work to do when it comes to email communication. When things get CC'd with all sorts of people, it gets hard for me. I'm glad I didn't continue the project because the stress was too much. It's so funny because I had a friend who was a producer, so obviously like I love emails. She said the complete opposite. She was working freelance and she's the type of person that loves her emails, and she said that this company used Slack, and she was like, she's like, I couldn't find anything because you'd have to like scroll up in the chat and like you'd lose stuff and people would talk about one thing, and she said that she hated how people would start talking about another like topic in the same channel or thread. And she's like, it's just messy. Whereas she was like, when I do an email, she's like, every time the topic switches or something else happens or someone presents a new idea, she's like, I start a new thread, I start a new email, and then like I do all that. And it's just funny, like we kind of have both, at least here at the school. I've used both at some of my workplaces where we had like Teams plus email. I'm kind of used to both, and I feel like there's like a time and a place for each type of message. But it's funny, people are just different. Some people like one thing over another. And it's good, Stu, that you recognize what works for your brain and like what type of communication you're good at and what types you're not so good at. And the sooner you can recognize that in your head, the better you can kind of plan for future projects or know how to communicate with people.
It's
and
also
the best companies set some
you.
rules around that stuff usually.
Yes,
It's
exactly.
like Slack is for this, email is for this, phone call is for emergent, pull the red cord, emergencies only type of thing.
Man down.
Don't call me.
Yeah, well, and then a lot of them are and texts too, right? Like personal text.
God, that's the worst. Yeah.
So they've done a couple of studies about this. They said it's really nice if if your company, if they don't do this, maybe you can suggest it to your manager as a way to organize things better. But to create just basically a chart saying, these are the types of communication we have. This is what they're used for. This is when you can use them. Like, you can Slack me in the middle of the night because I don't have to check it. But if you call me in the middle of the night, someone better be dying.
Exactly. Yeah. The servers better be wiped, or like I better.
But that helps if it's clear. And I think like when you're in that sort of situation that Stu describes, it would have been nice to have that clear definition of like what's for what. But at the end of the day, some people are just better at emails than others. I think you kind of have to, like, I don't know. It's weird. Like a lot of the artists I work with suck at emails. Like,
well, the topic you were mentioning to me, where she's like, I see a new thread and I started another email. Like, that drives me insane. Because you can't find anything in emails either. If you have, like, I went on vacation once for Milliman Hughes. I came back, I had 12,000 emails.
I had way too many emails at my last job.
You're not going to find anything in that.
That's almost the I need to quit my job moment. 13,000 emails in a week.
Yeah,
Dear Lord. I thought I
sometimes
had it bad.
you have one of those job where like half of them are these automatic emails from like Shotgun or this, or you know, like some of them aren't real things that you need to do. Like they're not action items, as I would call them.
No,
like
most
things
of them
are actionable and things aren't. Yeah, or like things that you're CC'd on because you're part of a group, whether it's your department or something, you know. I got a lot of those. Like my last job, I would get CC'd on everything. And oh my God. It was, if I missed one day of work, it would be hundreds in one
and it's
day.
like you delete the one CC and it's like, oh, you see that one email? It's like the one email you need to read. You're like, oh crap.
Yeah, that would happen all the
time. I must have gotten pulled off the CC list. Can you send me that again?
I didn't even delete stuff. Here. Just like just reading it all just takes a whole day. Like it is stupid. That's too much.
I actually saw somewhere, Jeremy and I were doing some research earlier in the year just about remote work, for one of our streams, and like I remember seeing that the average person loses an hour and a half a day of work to emails.
Oh yeah, I believe it. I had more. I lost like 10 hours a day in emails somehow.
So what were you doing?
In an 8-hour day.
All right, Maxine was a resource manager. Her job was to look at the email.
That's all it was. But it was annoying because sometimes I had other things to actually do, and I'm like, I can't because I'm doing this, or I'm actually doing my job, and then people are like, well, did you not see the email? I'm like, no, I didn't, because I was actually doing like the work part of my job.
I was working.
Yeah. I just stopped reading some of them because I just couldn't like read all of them. It's literally impossible. I'm really making myself sound like a good worker.
No, you're talking about the realistic side of what happens when things get out of chaotic.
Yes.
Right.
For most people, day to day, it's like not like that. But
your position also is unique in that sense, right? Like if you're a freelancer, you're not going to be getting that same level of email, right? Like Jeremy, no. Your position you're in, you're getting more of those emails than an average person would be getting.
A rhythm I was just.
Oh, is that rhythm?
Oh. You're like, I was just a regular guy.
Oops.
I was just just PM worker. No.
But it was probably
if I was getting 12,000 emails
CC
now,
group.
we are doing something wrong.
Yeah. I've never felt more comfortable like in so long to like have all my emails read, and just be on top of my inbox. Man, it feels
inbox
good.
0. Yes.
Thank you, CG Spectrum. I feel much less stressed day to day.
Which makes you more productive.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, for sure.
Totally does. Yeah.
But I think knowing how to write good, clear emails is also when you're a freelancer is very important. Like making sure everything is understood and not sending like Twitter type like really informal stuff is fine, especially for the chat programs if you're talking and you know somebody. But when you're talking with your clients and stuff, definitely knowing how to write a well structured, thought out, proper email where you'll get the right response that's clear is important. Because if everybody's rushing around and not rereading things, and good emails take some time to write, so definitely learn to it's a good skill you're going to.
And there's
have.
there's a sweet spot too between too little information and too much information too, right? Like, or
for sure.
too long, like. So
I'd say most of the time, most people err on the side of being too little nowadays. It's. I mean,
I do.
Like, occasionally,
it's always good to have like a
but
roundup.
That's rare.
Yeah. It's good to like, sometimes with emails or even conversations on Slack or whatever, when like people are talking and it kind of like goes in a circle, like, oh, how about we do this? And oh, maybe that. And then someone else pipes in like, oh yeah, that sounds cool. Could we do this? And then it kind of goes on for a day. And then you as the worker, the person that needs to execute said thing, if you're like reading back and forth and you're not sure, best thing to do again is like err on the side of caution, and communicate and ask, okay, everyone, thanks so much for the input. Just to round up everything, these are my action points. Let me know if I'm missing anything. Saying stuff like that is.
But that's a good
huge.
case of like managing up, I guess, for the lack of a better term, as a freelancer. Like you needed to kind of take control of what's going on a little bit and make sure that you're clear. Otherwise, you're going to waste time, which is now going to cost you money directly.
The other thing too about freelancing is if you're freelancing overseas, and like, so for example, for CG Spectrum, we have people all over the world, right? And so, if I'm having a very important message and I write this email to Jeremy, well, if I mess up and Jeremy's responding to that, well, it may be 13 hours till I get a response back from him, right? And so understanding those kind of elements is important to make sure that you're being clear and precise, so that, to your point, Maxine, confirmation, these are my action items. That's so important, because if not, then you run into a situation of, hey, by the way, I thought we said this. Well, no, we said this. Oh, okay.
Yeah. And then you pull up that email per my last email.
Yeah. Because if you send something and then it's misunderstood and you're in different time zones, then they could work all day, send it back to you. You don't get it till the next day, and then have to. It's really like 24-hour turnaround.
It's 36-hour turnaround.
Before you even figure out that something went wrong. So it becomes more important, especially if you're working in other countries from where the production is located.
Or if you have a language barrier on top of that.
Yep.
Yeah. That really helps to like learn how to be concise. I think it's like an important skill to also like remember where you're coming from and whoever you're talking to, where they're from. Even if their English is perfect and you're both speaking English, to remember or at least be cognizant about how much of what you're saying is slang or a figure of speech, even certain phrases that we sort of take for granted or we hear every day. We don't realize that they don't actually make sense when translated to someone else. If they don't know that figure of speech, that saying, then things don't come across well, especially when you're talking about something creative, when you're giving creative feedback, like, oh, can you make this brighter? But you don't really mean like, pump up the brightness. Like you mean like a feeling of something. Like you really have to get good about, happier, you have to get good at describing what you want or deciphering what the other person is saying back to you. So again, it's that thing about making sure you're on the same page. When they ask you something, okay, so do you mean this? Or saying, I don't really quite understand. Here's some examples. Is that what you kind of mean? Getting a visual example. And again, it puts it in writing. So legally, if something ever goes wrong where they're like, no, you were supposed to do this, it's like, nope, I got it in writing. This is what we agreed upon.
You said
this is
XYZ.
what you're paying me for. And if you want something else that was not what we agreed upon, that's going to be an overage.
Especially as freelancer, because your client, and it's not that they're trying to steal from you. It's just they think a lot of it is a lack of understanding, right? Oh, well, can you just change this? Well, you asked me to I'm gonna do something really simple. You asked me to create 3 logo options, and what you're really asking me now is do 6 logo options. Well, no, it's the same thing. No, it's not the same thing. It's a larger scale scope, right? Like, I use it as a simple thing, but like, if you're doing a character model and they want you to change, to our point, right? Well, it's a 6-legged creature instead of a 2-legged creature. Well, that's a drastic change in scope. That is very different than what you had originally asked me to do. So, yeah.
But
that's what
note,
I say too.
when you're starting out, many projects like that are project fee based.
Yes.
So
not hourly. They're
which is why it becomes more important that everyone is very clear, which is what I say, because it will cost you money. Because if you do something and it's misunderstood on your part and it's wrong, you will not get paid any more for that time. So you still need to do the project, and you just wasted a day, let's say.
The other thing I want to point out too, especially I know this with English speakers, is we do have a ton of, especially native English speakers, we have a ton of slang or a ton of expressions that when you go to some other culture, they're going to take literally what you are telling them as a literal statement, right?
Yeah.
Unless you know. And so I ran a situation with that where I had a guy that worked for a long time out of India. And when we first started working together, I gave an example of a situation, and in my mind, it was very clear what I was saying. In his mind, it was very clear what I was saying too. And they were not the same thing at all, because he took the literal side of what I said. So it is very important, I think, to clarify. So this is what you're asking for. I think it's a really good point, Maxine, to for anyone that's doing freelance work, really, period, frankly, in any organization.
Yeah, because sometimes it's, even if it's two people from Canada, sometimes it's still not 100% clear. Everyone has their own different life experiences. Everyone's from their own, maybe neighborhood, and we have our own slang in that neighborhood, even though we're in the same country or city. So it's always good to double check, get a visual representation or example, annotate something. Is this what you meant there? This is the part you're talking about, circle it, anything that can kind of help your cause so that you understand what you're talking about. They know that they're going to get what they're asking for. All of those things help. And that's not just freelancing. That's even people who work at a studio. The exact same things happen even when you're in the same building. We're not even talking COVID, and talking, back when things were normal and people worked in the same room, things would still get lost in translation. So the more you can keep track of things, save the annotation so you can check it later, so you don't have to go digging through something, all of those things matter. And it all comes down to organization, communication, are very important for any project you do, whether it's with 5 people or with 50 or 500. It just needs to get better with the more people you have.
Right.
Well, and I think the point is you can always work on your communication skills, right?
Yes.
Communication skills are important in every facet of life. Every relationship, from personal relationship to work relationship, communication is important. So we definitely have. We've talked this one pretty thoroughly for you guys.
It's a good topic, though.
Yeah.
I don't remember what the main topic was, but
the main topic is Star Wars Squadrons. That's the main topic.
Is the Herman Miller embodied chair.
Okay, you're right. You know what? I concede. I tried to make it about Squadrons, but I can't, because it is about the Herman Miller X Logitech G embodied gaming chair for only $14.95 USD.
For only $14.95 USD, yeah.
It could be yours.
Now shipping in 3 weeks.
But it does come with a 12-year warranty, so let's call that out. I really feel like we are paid by these guys for how much we're talking about this thing. So I'm gonna
I wish.
Right.
If anyone from Herman Miller would like to
chairs.
sponsor the stream,
by sending the 3 of us. Oh, Jimmy already have one. By sending Maxine and I one of these chairs.
I don't have the specific one.
Oh, okay.
If you divide it by 12, it's only $124 per year.
Listen, I'll set my chair on fire. This one right
Time
here.
out.
Yeah.
Time out.
If I get one of those, I'll do it on the stream.
Well, then we will have the number one stream on Twitch that night. I'll tell you. Right?
I don't know if you guys heard about this.
Don't
There's
say
this,
that. Like, I would be tempted to see if we could get you one. If you'll
I'm
set
dead
your chair on fire on live stream.
100%.
How many of our viewers tonight would like to pool their money together to watch me light a chair on fire?
None.
See, that's what I would do if I had a famous friend, or if I was famous. I would pull stuff like that online.
If Zach or Quentin is your buddy, hey Zach, check it out.
I would light this on fire on live stream in my apartment.
Funny thing is,
Yes.
I wouldn't be the first chair girl of Toronto. I don't know if you guys heard about it. It's months old news, but some girl threw a chair off
Oh,
of the
I
balcony.
saw the video of that. Was in Toronto. Yeah, she like with people down below. Just
in like a huge condo, like one of those really big skyscrapers, but it was next to a highway. Like literally, like it was like, you know, if you could stretch your arm out over the balcony and then like, you know, 50 feet down, like you'd be touching the guardrail of the highway sort of thing. Like it was that close. Look it up, Jeremy. Thank you. And yeah, they call her Chair Girl, and they found who she was because, you know, social media, and like she videotaped it like an idiot. And she got in trouble. She went to court. I think she had to pay some fine and do some community service. Really like very like not a good sentence, but only because nobody got hurt. But it's like, but they could have.
well, I saw Antonio Brown,
That's
the football
like
player.
120 miles an hour usually, but something good. I mean,
Well,
that
It's
would easily kill you.
insane. But now she's like popular, and so now she's
It
like
worked.
this social media person. Oh, it's terrible.
We,
The
we
world is
reward
toxic.
awfulness, right?
Yeah.
And
yeah.
Antonio Brown, there's footage. He was an anger set in this hotel in Miami and threw the couch out from the 12th floor. And literally, there's a 2-year-old boy walking by the pool, and it lands
No.
right next to him. Like,
Ugh.
and he laughed about it. Like, people.
Please,
Oh yeah,
please
she
don't
did
throw
too
things
until
off
she
of
got
buildings.
caught. Yeah.
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 People
See,
just
if
don't
I
think.
light this on fire, it'll be, you know,
In a
not in my
contained,
house.
controlled environment
Yes.
with the fire department nearby and the ambulance personnel. I mean,
I'll make sure that
But that's not
you know,
nearly
Like
as
a-
exciting.
like a movie stunt coronation situation.
people are
Guys,
going to get jobs from this, you know? I'm going to hire
at
some
CG
people.
Spectrum, we don't recommend you set anything on fire.
Yes. Yes, I'm so sorry.
Yes.
Just gonna add that in here.
Don't try this at home.
Just
Don't
use
try this
Houdini.
out.
There we go. There we go. I'm going to
Out
get Daniel
you
to
go.
light my chair on fire.
Are you gonna be in the chair when he
with
does it?
Houdini. Yeah.
You'll be Fire Girl.
Oh yeah, there you
Well,
Just use Houdini. Yep.
go. Yeah.
Well, I guess we're about ready to wrap up, guys. We appreciate you all being with us tonight, and we never talked about Raised by Wolves for the record.
oh, we didn't. We
That's
didn't.
fine. There'll
And
be
we
new
said that we
episodes
would.
next week.
Yeah, there's new episodes every week. Oh my god, it's such a good show. I've been loving it so far. I feel that
Kirsty.
fire is not so trendy right now. I'm so-
No,
Thank
it is
you,
not.
Kirsty. Thank you.
No.
Yeah.
Maybe Polar Bear
Um,
Club it. Maybe you jump with the chair into the polar bear, like polar bear ice. I don't know,
I'd have to wait a few months for it to be cold enough to do that.
but not that many. By the time we actually get, Herman Miller X Logitech chairs to do this, it'll be a
It's
few
only three.
months.
It's only 3 weeks.
Yeah, I'll consider it. If
I'll
there's enough
consider-
fans, if the people want to see
For-
it, I gotta
You're
give the people
you're
what they
you're a
want.
lady. You're a woman of the people.
Absolutely, that's what I'm here for.
We'll set up a donation bucket and
All proceeds will go
GoFundMe
towards the
page.
California fires.
Okay, I like that idea. I'll do it too. If we're
We'll all
gonna
light
help,
our chairs on fire.
no, we have to freeze our chairs.
Oh,
maybe.
freezer! Sorry. So yeah. Yeah.
We'll stream.
I'll
Like,
do
we'll
it.
all get an ice bath for a whole stream, like into the neck, like the deep.
And see how long we
ah,
can.
Oh,
For
I'll be in
2
for like 2
hours.
seconds and I'm out. Yeah, exactly.
Shortest stream ever. Oh
We'll
my
just all like
God.
freeze on the stream.
I'm happy we ended it today on a high note. We're talking very important stuff tonight. It's always a pleasure. When I'm here, I get to talk about such important things in the industry.
Hey, but we did.
And then all the
Freezing
other
a
stuff.
chair in a bathtub.
Yeah.
Also, if you can't afford that, there's also some really nice GT racing chairs, which are like $150.
I got my chair, my nice yellow one, for like $50, I think.
Was that
$35
IKEA
off the
as
Facebook
well?
Marketplace.
Yeah.
Came with the cup.
It's moderately comfortable. Yeah. Does the trick. Swivels.
Excellent.
Uh,
Well, we definitely
Doing
appreciate
a
our follow
QVC
tonight.
shopping now.
yeah. I always loved watching Price is Right when I was a kid. So this is really just a dream come true for me, guys. Thank you. Thank you so much. So happy to be here.
Let's are we gonna go raid Russell's? Let's go raid Russell's art there.
we can't raid anymore.
Oh, that's right. We can't raid anymore. I forgot. I'm sad.
It's all right though. Go check out Russell's stream. He does the nice artwork.
He's great, family friendly, and he's super
If
nice
you're
guy
if you're joining us on Twitch,
on Twitch. Yeah. If you're on our other platforms, thanks for joining us as well.
yeah. Thanks a lot, guys. Thanks for joining in on our random chit chat and bit of important information there. But
be back on the 21st, and we will cover Raised by Wolves next week. I promise.
We will. And for those of you in the concept art streams, Brandon is super busy, so he's taking a little time off. Tyler is filling in for him, and he's working on a really awesome character concept design right now. So definitely go and check that out. That'll be for the rest of the month. So.
Sweet.
Yeah. Thanks a lot, and we'll see you guys next week.
Bye, guys. Have a good night.
Bye.